Welcome to this video from the Derbyshire Groundsmen's Association. Today we're at Quarndon Cricket Club where Steve Hollis is preparing his first pitch of the season.
Basically the work that's been carried out so far is I've cross-cut it with a rotary mower, I've cross-rolled it, probably 3 to 4 days worth, total probably 10 to 12 hours. I've done that with a roller that's not laden, it's about 1500 weight. Spent quite a bit of time cross-rolling, it's a very important part of the game. In trying to prepare good pitches. What we've done, we've fertilised, we've put a 468 on. I shall need to do it again, probably when the weather warms up a little bit, but just to get some growth, we've given a fertiliser right the way across the square. So what we're going to do today, we're going to show you how we're going to start and get a pitch out. So what we've got today, we've got 4 pieces of equipment. We've obviously got the brush, the combi rake, the 610 Dennis, and the auto roller. If I was going to start and prepare a pitch early in the morning, they'd probably be due on the pitch. Okay? So the first thing I'd be doing, I'd be going up and down my pitch, up and down, up and down, up and down, and over one, same again, and then over one, same again. Okay, the next process I will do then, I will certainly scarify it. There are a number of ways of scarifying. There's the manual combi rake, and there's obviously the machine one. I like the rake, the combi rake, the manual one. 2 reasons. One, I don't go too deep, and the other, it keeps me fit. Up and down, I should start on a full 22 yards. Some people don't do the whole lot, but I tend to want to scarify the 22 yards. Well, Steve, this is the chairman of the Groundsmen's Association. Okay, so straight away we've only had 2 passes, but look at the difference. Look at what it's brought up. And the other thing is it'll let the pitch breathe a little bit, getting all them dead grasses out. And I'll probably do this 4 times over a period of getting this pitch out. You know, at the minute we'll be talking about this is probably 16, 17 mil high. So I'm going to start and take this down from, to about 12 mil. So if I start at 12 mil, I will basically get me tape, get me measure, and then make it 12 mil. A lot of clubs at the moment, they're taking the ground, they're taking the cut straight down, instead of going from 12 to 10 to 8 to 6, and then possibly, match day 4 mil. These are extremes. If you can't do that, but this is the way you should be learning and trying to do. Try and do the job properly. Okay, taking your mower, not stressing the grass too much, so that you're taking it down. And the big word we use is even. Everything's even. Even cut, even roll, even scarify. Okay, that's about 12, 13 mil, that's where I've set it. And even when I'm cutting it, if I think I need to go a little bit lower, I'll take it down a few more clicks. But sometimes it's better not to cut too short, okay? So you can always take your mower down instead of bringing it back up again, okay? Okay, now we've brought the grass up, we've freshened it up a little bit. The temperature today actually is very good. It's probably one of the best days we've had. So to get this pitch out now, I'll mow it. I will still check the cut. If I think it's too low, I'll higher it back up. But the way to do that is just have a look, mow about 6 or 8 foot, see if you're happy with the cut. If you're happy with the cut, then carry on. Okay, so we've scarified, we've cut, we're down to about 12 mil. Is it actually time now to roll, or is it actually time now to water? This time of the year, you probably won't have to use your irrigation system. Okay, there should be enough in this pitch, and to prove if it's ready or not, I'll get on my knees. To determine that, we just have to see if there's a bit of give in the pitch. It may just be we might be a day late on this. I'd like a little bit more, but what we're going to do, we're going to give it a go. Once I've rolled it, we'll see what it's come out like. We've got a 10-foot pitch. We've got a 4-foot roller. That means 3 passes. Okay, so as I come down here to roll the pitch, 4 foot, up and down, centre stump, up and down, and then the edge of our pitch that we've marked out in nice clear white paint. So basically it's 3 passes. At the moment we're not fully laden with the auto roller. It probably weigh about 1500 weight, something like that. It's still a bit damp on the outfield, and the areas are quite damp, so I won't fill it up probably till next week or the week after, and then that should bring me up to about 2.5 ton. As I'm rolling as well, I'll try and roll as slow as possible, to try and get a good face, get the bed down. As we roll in, try and stay on your markers if you can. There's a way you can do that. You can mark the edge of your rollers on both sides of the roller so you know where you're rolling. I've got 2 markers, one on the back, one on the back. So basically that's 1 pass, okay, very slowly, and you can see straight away the difference. Okay, it's beginning to push the pitch down a little bit. Now my program on this pitch now would be up and down, up and down, up and down, very slowly, up and down, up and down, up and down, off. And then the reason I go off now is because I want this to breathe. I've pushed it down, so I've got to let it breathe a bit. The best way to roll pitches, if possible, is around about 11 o'clock in the morning and probably 3 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And I will do that now for the next 10 days, okay? For the next 10 days, that will be my process. Obviously, within that 10 days, I will have to scarify again, I will have to cut again, and then I'll start to bring the cut down to whatever height I want it for the game. The other thing, the big question now is the weather. If I'm going to get this pitch rock hard, flat, I need to keep it dry now. No more water on this pitch if possible. Some clubs might say impossible. That's a fact, I know all about that. I've got a big sheet down there. It's 100 foot by 50 foot and it'll cover 5 pitches. I will try my best to keep this pitch without no more water, if possible. Now obviously the weather, it can rain, it can be windy, all sorts of different. If I do that for 10 days, I know I'll get a substantial hard pitch. That's a core that I took about 10 days ago. Okay, that's what we call a Motti test. An old groundsman told me, Walter Goodyear, brilliant, and he knew how to make pitches. And if you just listen, that's about 2 or 3 weeks old from this square. So I know basically if I keep the process right on this pitch, I'm going to get a good pitch. Okay then, from last week, we're about 8 days into preparing a pitch. Like I said last week, I've probably scarified this wicket about 3 times with the combi rake. I've also brought the cut down from 12 mil to 10 mil to 8 mil, and at the moment I've got it down to 5. And I think with the weather conditions being like they are, I'm going to stick at 5. We've got a game on Sunday. I'm a couple of days away from what I think the pitch will be absolutely perfect. But it's gone well, even though the temperatures have ranged from 22 degrees to 8 degrees. So the English groundsman has a lot of work to do. 8 days, so if I times that by 4, okay, that's the amount of time I've rolled this pitch. Okay, I've scarified it, I've cut it again 3 or 4 times, and now we're in the process of the finalising of the process of rolling. The roller now is fully laden, weighs about 2.5 tonne, so I'm really getting down now where the pitch is going to get really hard. The weather's been fairly kind apart from the temperature. There's been no water on this pitch whatsoever. There was a couple of days where I covered it up, but other than that it's been open because there's been no rain. Okay, so 8 days in, consistent rolling, consistent cutting, consistently doing a bit of scarifying. Even though I've still got a little bit of moss in the grass, I will actually work with that, and I should say, okay, this pitch will last me about 3 games, probably a training session, and then after the process I will scarify this pitch with a scisis and really get down to the little bit of moss that's left. But as it is, I don't think it's going to affect the pitch at all. Looking at the pitch, looking at the hardness, okay, it's starting to harden up, starting to bounce. We need that bounce as even as possible right throughout the pitch. So I'll come down this way, try it again. Yeah, that's fairly consistent bounce. So I know with the feel, the hardness of it, I know it's going to play reasonably well. And at the end of the day, probably Sunday, it'll be absolutely perfect to play. Okay, so just to finish off, I've already marked that end out. This is my equipment to do the marking out. I've got a timber frame. A lot of people have got the flick back aluminium ones. It all depends which you prefer. Okay, so with me squaring off at the beginning of the season, which I think is very important, it makes this bit a little bit easier. I've already got my lines in. I've got my centre stump in. That line is parallel. I've also got my 17 inches marked on my frame. Centre stump, 12 inches either side, 17 inch. And then generally what I'll do, just to check it's square, I'll bang a peg in at middle stump at the other end. I'll get my tape, I'll measure it off, 62.5, hopefully 62.5. I'll be happy with that. Okay, so this is squared off timber, 3 by 1.5, and to do that, just chink it in there, make sure it's nice and square, flush off there, and then I can mark my line straight through. They do say if you take this length, half the length of your main playing area, that's the length of the line that you need. So this will be quite straightforward to mark this out. It's marked out that end, we're ready to go. So we've had a session at preparing a pitch in an ideal world. Sometimes, obviously, local groundsmen, they've got a job, they've got work to do, they've got limited time on the square. My general idea would be that the first bit is most important, trying to find the time when you actually probably cut your square down to, cut the pitch down to about 12mm, and then you start your rolling process. That to me is probably the key, you know, after you've scarified it. Try and get the timing of the rolling right. Just give a little bit with your thumbs in the pitch and then see if you can roll it and see, look at the side of your roller and see if it's gently going down. If it's not going down, it's the wrong time. The roller's actually got to depress slightly into the wicket. When you get that, I think people have limited amount of time, you know, because of their jobs, etc. But for me, that's a very important part of the process.
If you would like Steve to visit your club and help with any problems, or give you general advice, please contact Steve or email the DGA. This is a free service for most clubs in Derbyshire.